Hey guys.
Hello.
Alright, we've changed our minds. I got sick of all the stupid shit we were watching, and I don't want to waste my time with it anymore.
Don't want to waste your guys' time with it either.
No.
Because odds are you probably don't care.
No. So we're gonna scrap everything except for the animes and shows that we liked or we had already previously seen. We'll keep those videos up, but we're gonna scrap all the rest. And we're just gonna start fresh. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna rewatch shows that we've seen previously, be it both of us together or just one of us. We will we'll go in alphabetical order. So this first one is going to be Angel Beats. I don't remember. Have I shown it to you?
No.
Okay. Well, I've seen it.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it at all.
I've seen it.
It'll
and
be fresh.
It's sad. I don't want to watch it, but it's sad.
Here we are.
I don't want to rewatch it. I've seen it twice. I've shown someone. It must have been an old friend. So it's gonna be basically the exact same thing. He will go into it, obviously, as if he's never seen it. I will answer the questions differently because I have seen it. And just from past experience with the other videos, it's kind of hard to sit here and pretend you haven't seen something that you love. So I will give my 2 cents in, but on things that I haven't seen, it'll be run mostly by me. Things that he hasn't seen, it'll be mostly him answering, with me just throwing in my 2 cents on, like, okay, yeah, animation's beautiful, whatever, stuff like that. So this first one's going to be Angel Beats, and then I don't know how many we'll get through in a day, but in the A's, we went from like having 2 pages of A's to Angel Beats, Assassination Classroom, and Attack on Titan. So, oh, and there was one other.
We might get those out to you guys.
We'll probably get all the A's done today, and then we're gonna just finish anime first, and then we'll focus on cartoons instead of going back and forth and back and forth. The cartoons might be a completely different category. I will, I'll make that decision when I get to it, when I get to the editing and posting the video. So for now, we're gonna start Angel Beats, and we will get back to you when it is done. It's the hardest button to push ever. Alright, we finished the first episode. Episode 1. I forgot to read to you guys, for those of you who don't know it. I forgot to read the summary and all that fun jibble jabble. But I'll try and sum it up for you without reading it. It's basically about a bunch of people who have died and they're kind of stuck on the in-between.
Kind of like purgatory.
Yeah, they haven't really died because a lot of them haven't, I think it goes in to explain later on that the reason they're there is because they haven't accepted their deaths. And there's some reason, it's, you know, it's kind of like, they had stuff left that they feel...
Unfinished business.
Yeah, that they felt was unfinished, and I think later on, that's how they end up being able to move on. That's what obliterated, people get obliterated because they're happy. And if you're happy with how things are, then you move on. I don't know. But essentially that's what it is. It's only 14 episodes long. That's including an OVA, which I'm not honestly sure if I've actually seen that myself. I didn't know they had one. It's a big fan base. I think this is probably one of the most we've seen. 4.93 stars out of 5, with 366 votes. So that is, I'm not surprised. It's
popular.
It's popular. So, with this being something I've already seen before, at least twice, we will direct the questions mostly to him. So would you continue watching it?
Definitely. Like, despite this being an anime that with the name alone, I thought it was going to be a slice of life, protagonist meets an angel trapped in a human's body, bullcrap, whatever. I thought it was going to be cheesy and dumb. No. It, like, went the completely opposite way. It's really good. So I would definitely continue it. I'm wishing, even though he keeps telling me it's going to be sad, I'm wishing there was a second season, so to skip down to that question, I would continue a second season, because I already like it that much. after episode 1.
I can tell you right now, there's no need for a second season. Having seen the ending is pretty good. I won't spoil it because he wants to continue it.
Angel beat.
But the ending is it's satisfactory. I mean, I think the reason I felt that there needed to be more to it was just simply because it was only 13 episodes, and I was like, shoot. I just started falling in love with these characters, and now they're dying left and right, you know?
Yay.
So, it's with the ending they had, I can almost guarantee there won't be another season unless it's something with completely other characters.
Rebooted.
You know, rebooted, so it wouldn't even be worth it. But, you know, it's his opinion. That's just my 2 cents thrown in because I finished it. I think the next question was, what'd you like best about it?
The animation, the voice acting, and the overall concept of the story of them being, you know, deceased people who haven't accepted that they are dead. And they're doing their best to fight against that instead of, you know, either accepting it or just, I don't know what another term would be. Like, I don't want to say it's along the lines of denial, but they're actually doing something about it other than standing there and saying, I didn't die.
Right.
They're fighting to prove that they didn't die.
Or they're trying to make a point here where it's like, we'll die on our own terms kind of thing. I can agree. The reason I really liked this show, I got really hooked to it. The first episode, when I first watched it, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. If I had known it was as sad as it is, I probably never would have finished it. But the animation really got me hooked because it was the first time I had seen animated hair where it's like really bright, almost white on the top, and then it fades to the dark color.
That would be in with, like, how I said animation was a part of what I liked, was that the hair was unique, you know. And it wasn't just the protagonist that had hair like that. Everyone had hair like that.
Everyone.
Which was really, it's nice to see.
And everyone has different colors. So, like, in the main set, everyone has a different hair color. Nobody has the same hair color. You've got purple, black, blue, brown,
gray,
dark brown, but, you know, different shades.
Blonde.
You got pink and dark pink and a purple.
Another like was a character in particular that dances and sings.
TK.
TK.
He likes TK.
He looks like my kind of fella.
I'm pretty sure that was his name. The blue-haired guy is my favorite.
So
he was my favorite, but of course, you know, his story arc is probably one of the saddest ones out there.
Yeah.
It's a trip.
His girlfriend kills him, doesn't she?
No.
Oh.
It's so much sadder than that.
Okay.
You'll see.
Yay.
There's only 13 episodes. We could probably finish it, you know, when we have free time. What did you, was there anything you disliked about it?
Honestly, no. Oddly enough, it wasn't slow.
Sorry the camera's jumpy, guys.
Yeah, we have to use another form.
Our old way of holding up the camera's not working, so deal with it.
The story was presented, it was explained enough, and not in too great of detail, which I'm not saying is bad.
It's kind of one of those situations where it's not explained in so much detail where you're like, alright, well, I know what's going on. Where it's like, I kind of get the gist of what's going on, but
there's still a hint of mystery to where you want to keep watching, like, why is Angel doing the shit she's doing, and all this other stuff. So, honestly, no, I didn't dislike anything.
I think the next question was the animation, which we've already covered.
It's top-notch in my opinion. It didn't seem clunky in places. It seemed very smooth. What was really impressive was the concert. How many different lights and everything, and how you would have to draw that with different shades of light going over it, each scene every second. It's incredible.
That's why I like animes that do concerts or any particular kind of like light show kind of thing, because you know, that kind of stuff takes the extra time and effort. It's just like Gravitation. Despite how a lot of times I'll sit here and complain about it, I honestly really love it because, you know, you've got the concert lights, and that was one of the first animes I'd seen where it had concerts like every other episode. And it's like, wow, they're really using, I mean, they used recycled animation a lot, but I can understand why. This one, I caught some scenes where it was recycled animation in the concert, but not a lot.
Not a lot to where it was like super, like, I'm gonna have to knock them for that, you know?
Right.
It's understandable considering they had to do the entire crowd.
And there's, the girl said like 2,000 students at this school, so I know there was no 2,000 students in that concert hall, but...
In the frame, but, you know...
You do what you can.
There was enough for it to clearly have taken time and effort put into it, not just, we're going to shade everything the exact same shade every scene to make it seem like there's lights. There was different tones of each color. Which
is another reason why it's like, oh, I like the animation, the shades, because they didn't settle for just, okay, well, you've got brown hair, so you're going to have light brown and then dark brown. You know, it went like 50 shades of brown.
Which is really cool, because it's detailed. A lot of animes just like to do the character in the description has red hair, so it's one solid sheet of red. You know, unless you dye your hair specifically all like one color.
Well, even then, I dyed my hair. My hair right now is it's supposed to be a brown black, but it's got multiple shades of brown.
Yeah, like fucking amber and chocolate, and
then it goes down into really dark. So I mean, it depends on the lighting.
It seems nicer, and yeah, green hair, blue hair, whatever, isn't realistic in the world.
But I mean, come on, if I was to go dye my hair green and film a video for you guys, I'd still have multiple shades of green. So It's really nice when animators do that.
And in the show, I don't need an explanation because all animes have characters with oddly colored hair. It's how you tell them apart. If they all had the same shade of hair, all the same color, it'd be so boring and bland.
It's kind of like Inuyasha. I love Inuyasha to death, but most of the characters have brown or black hair.
Or white, and that's it.
Or white, yeah. That's like all the color. You don't see any other colors. It is brown, black, or white. I used to get in an argument with a friend of mine on whether Kagome's hair was really black or blue, because I got so tired of there being just black and brown colors that I was like, okay, well, Sango has brown highlights on the top, but everything else looks black. Kagome's hair looks black, but she's got blue highlights, if you look really closely. So it's like, no, her hair's just a really dark blue. And so, see, then you come in here and you're focusing more on what color their hair is
than the actual story or the characters themselves. You're trying to figure out what the fuck is their hair color.
So it's like, you know, when you have multiple colors, I'm not saying give every single anime character a different hair color. I'm just saying have some options. Sailor Moon. You have two blondes, but they have different hairstyles. It's
different hairstyles and it's colored differently?
Yeah, because one is like a really light blonde and the other one's more of a golden blonde. So it's, you know, it's variations, and that's nice.
It'd be really good. Never not make your main character unique.
If your main character doesn't stand out.
And the attention to detail is great. You know, you want your character to have teal hair. You know, that's perfect, but don't make it all one shade of teal.
See, another good example for that is Junjo Romantica. Because, like, almost everyone in that show has...
brown, black.
It's either brown, black, or, like, a grayish silver. There's two people, I believe, that had the gray tone. So Misaki is the main character, and he's just got this plain brown hair. If my hair was longer, like, more shoulder length, it would be actually around this color, you know? So... I'm not saying go make it, you know, bright blue, but have him stand out in a way.
Be unique about it.
That's also a really poor example because you don't need anybody to stand out in a yaoi anime, but...
Not really, but...
Point is, when they're basic like that, it's just no fun. I believe the next question would have been the second season, which he already answered. So we'll move right on to the,
cosplay from it.
Yeah, would you cosplay from it?
Honestly, yeah. Despite it being school uniforms, and I usually like to stay away from those because they usually always end up looking alike.
These ones are unique. These ones are different.
There's a badge.
Yeah, they're specified to this group.
Mm-hmm.
They said so themselves in the first episode that their school uniform is not the official one of that school.
It's just for the club by itself, which would make it stand out more at con instead of your typical black and white school uniform. You know, it's tan in color, which there are a lot of animes with tan in color ones, but
you know, the patchwork and stuff is what sets it apart.
It's styled differently, and it's good. So
I would too. It's not on my list to cosplay, but when I first watched this,
if I had a free day and like nothing else planned, and I knew there was going to be more people doing it, definitely.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where it's all right to have one or two people, but you're always going to want to be different people. Like when I wanted to cosplay this, my friend at the time, she wanted to be the main character, and I wanted to be Hinata. And I was like, if we get separated, nobody's going to really know me. I'm just some blue-haired dude in a, school uniform. So
name that character.
It kind of helps to have a group. It's one of those ones where, okay, a group would be nice, but it's not necessary. I just never got around to cosplaying from it, like a lot of things back in the day, and maybe it'll be added later, I don't know. We'll see. The last thing was final thoughts. What are your final thoughts on it?
I would rate it myself as a, at least an 8. Minimum an 8 because of how blown away I was by it.
I remember. The other question was the story compelling?
Oh, yeah, it was.
See, that would be something where I could agree with his 8. I could even push it higher if I wanted, but I would be fine with an 8 because we've determined that 8 and 9 are those animes where it's like, wow, you're into it from the very get-go.
It's able to, captivate you enough, explain enough, but leave enough mystery and likable characters and great animation and music, obviously.
Right.
To where you want to see more of it. You don't just want to be like, well, that was a one-time run-through. I want to watch this, but I don't ever want to watch it again type situation. We run into those animes all too much.
We do. Even when someone's like, here, you should give this a try, it's the best thing out there, it's like, alright, it was mediocre at best, but
and then they're like, I've rewatched it 8 times and it's still great, and
I could say the same thing to any one of you. Do you know how many times I've seen Junjo Romantica all the way through?
Too many.
Start to finish, way too many. That used to be the only anime I had both seasons of, every single episode, and I would watch it almost every day. I'd watch one season, and then I'd watch the next one right after the other.
All day, every day.
I could sit there and I could tell him Junjo Romantica is the best goddamn anime out there, and
it's purely subjective.
It is, because just because I like guy stuff doesn't mean he does. I know he does, but it doesn't necessarily mean your opinion is your opinion. Does not necessarily mean someone else is gonna love it.
No, it doesn't.
I love Angel Beats, but I never had him watch it with me because it didn't strike me as something I figured he would like. It's kind of one of those situations where you're like, let's watch the first episode. Let's see, there's nothing wrong with him not liking it if I love it.
Yeah, helping someone dip their toe in the water is great, but if they don't like it, that doesn't mean they're in the wrong because,
There's plenty of animes that he watches, like Hellsing and Attack on Titan, where I watched the first episode or I watched a episode.
And it's enough.
And that was enough for me. That was more than enough for me because I was like, no, this I don't like it. It's dumb, in my opinion. I thought that Attack on Titan was one of the stupidest things I had ever seen. Granted, there was a lot of stuff I liked about it. I'll talk about that in 3 episodes from now. But the point is, he introduced it to me. I watched it. I didn't like it. End of story.
You didn't need to fight over it. We didn't stop being friends.
We actually considered cosplaying from it and still do, so it's like, okay, there's something you like, we can go on mutual grounds here. This is one of those things where it's like, okay, well, he rated it an 8. I would agree with him. It's one of those things where had he watched it, had he not liked it and rated it a 2, I would have stepped in and been like, okay, that's fine, but my rating would have been this because I actually like it.
And this is from my personal thing, just because he is my friend, like best friend, and we lived together doesn't mean I would rate an anime a false rating. If I didn't like something I was watching, I would clearly state it. He could tell you, throughout this entire thing, I was laughing, I was smiling.
Mm-hmm.
I had no reason to even look at my phone, because I was actually so fucking captivated.
I mean, and there's some animes out there where it's just like, this is just dragging out so much. But this had you like, oh, this is going on, this is going on. If he had been on his phone, he would have actually missed quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because the main character died like 3 times, and, you know...
I would have missed that if I had looked down when he had died and looked back up and he was still alive. I would have missed the explanation.
Yeah.
And been like, okay, this is stupid, because they didn't explain it.
You know, so... yeah. He liked it, end of story.
It was good stuff.
Yeah. Would you recommend it to others?
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean...
That's a bonus question.
I mean, it's 12 episodes and an OVA. You could probably... 13.
Yeah, it's 13 episodes.
13 episodes and an OVA. You could probably burn through this in a day.
Oh, you could. I've done it.
And it'd still be good.
Just have your tissue boxes ready.
Apparently.
I haven't seen the OVA, so I think I might actually watch that later tonight, or when he gets caught up all the way, I might catch him up first and then watch it, because I didn't realize there was one, and apparently it's dubbed, so I wonder what that's about.
Hooray.
We'll find out some other time. And we're going to continue, like what we did previously with A Lull by the Sea. We continued that, we finished it, so if this ends up being one that we finish, you know...
in the upcoming weeks, or whenever we finish
we finish it, we will do a pickup review for it, you know, and see how
recap and
see how he liked it, start to finish.
If it's still an 8 out of 10, if it went up to a 9 out of 10, or a 10 out of 10.
I could tell you all of my opinions on this, but I don't want to give away any spoilers, so I'll save it for the end review, but we will do that.